Thank you all for being here. And I just want to pay tribute to the range of work that comes under your remit. It's really astounding, and it has been expanded. So my first question, really, have you enough staff and have you enough resources to carry out the whole range of entities that you supervise and monitor?
Thank you, Deputy. So I think we are well resourced for what we do.
No. So we're here just, you have huge responsibility.
Yeah.
So have you enough to carry out those responsibilities?
I think, Deputy, what I would say is that every new function we take on, we seek the staffing that we believe we require to do that function. And
you're getting those staff?
And we get the staff.
So there's no question of governance or monitoring or the standard being reduced because of lack of staff?
No, I think we did have a challenge in one area for a period of time in disability because of the rate of growth of the number of individual disability centres, but we successfully engaged with the department and we secured.
You're happy at the moment with the level of staff, and you've pointed out at any given time agency staff is 3%.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
What would have been the highest? That's the average. What would have been the highest percentage? Would it have ever been 10%?
I think it really runs more than 15 or 16 staff at any one time. They
just percentage-wise, would it have? It would in around 3%.
3%, each 3%.
Now,
yeah.
Is the price of that commensurate with what you're getting? You're implying a recruitment firm, I gather.
Yes.
Yeah, on a regular basis, the same recruitment firm?
The recruitment firm is...
It's the same recruitment firm. It's somebody we've contracted with through a procurement process.
Yeah. How long is that contract for?
Oh, our contracts would normally be for 3 years with the option of renewal.
Yeah. So that's been constantly renewed then, is it?
It has been renewed once from memory.
And will it ever go back out then?
Oh yeah, it would.
So that's all tied in.
Go back out to the market.
So the costs seem high in relation to that, but maybe I'm...
well, it would depend on the type of staffing that we were bringing in through the agency, and sometimes there might be some higher paid staff if we had a specialist area in ICT or HR or maybe finance, which are the areas where we typically would have.
Would it be fair to say you're not facing the same obstacles or hurdles that other entities face in terms of recruitment and retention? I think that's what you've said.
I think we have a very strong interest in people coming to work in HICWA, and typically, with the exception of ICT, where we can't pay the market rate in some areas.
I might come back to that in a minute. Yeah. So at this stage, an awful lot of the questions have been asked and answered. So I just want to zone in on a few different things quickly. Yeah. You've included IPAS, or IPAS has been included. How many centres are there? How many have been inspected? Where are we with that?
Okay, I might ask Sean Egan to come in on that, because Sean is our Director of Healthcare Regulation.
Thank you, Deputy, for the question. So we have a very defined role in the monitoring of IPAS services. I'm
just going to ask at this stage the number in the country,
so
the number inspected?
Last year, we inspected all 51 services.
So it's 51 in total?
It's actually fallen in terms of the number that we currently have a remit for. So we have a legal remit to inspect services that are designated as permanent by the Minister of Equality, and that number has actually fallen in recent times. So this year it's actually down to 35 at this stage. So
just explain that to me. You have a legal permit for?
So within the legislation, there's a definition around what is designated as permanent. That designation is defined by the Minister, and the Minister determines the list essentially that are open for us to inspect. So
there are many more centres than that, but you've no remit.
Yeah, so we're currently, I suppose, empowered to inspect about 11% of all of the centres.
11%?
11, yeah. There are over 300 centres that we're aware of. The majority of them are what are known as emergency centres, and we have no remit to inspect those centres at the current time.
No remit for the emergency?
No.
And 11% of all the others?
Yes.
And have all those been inspected now?
They have, yeah, and in fact a number of them have been inspected on a number of different occasions.
Okay, are they unannounced as well?
There's a majority of them are unannounced inspections. That there are certain inspections that are conducted on an unannounced basis, and that's generally to, I suppose, meet certain individuals that we might need to engage with at a senior management level. Typically, inspections where we need to go in and look at a specific issue that we've already identified.
Could you tell me briefly what issues have arisen?
So there've been, we published an overview report last year, and that report outlined a number of positive findings in terms of the experience of people using services. We've also identified...
What issues have arisen?
So there have been a number of issues in terms of course, the availability of accommodation. It's very restricted, and as a consequence of that, a lot of the accommodation is quite overcrowded.
Overcrowding, what other issues?
Overcrowding, we've identified issues in the context of understanding and awareness of risk management as we would expect it as a systems regulator. This is a new sector to be monitored.
I just want the issues.
Sure.
Yeah,
There's overcrowding
issues.
Has been an issue. One of the requirements of the national standards is that each service has what's known as a reception officer. So it's a new position that's been created under the standards, and really it's to improve the level of kind of awareness.
Have they got in the reception officers?
A number of them haven't, and that's something that we flagged.
Do you know what might be helpful if you just give us those issues?
Sure.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I'm really sorry for. I'm watching that clock and I'm watching that chair. So just in relation to private hospitals, it has taken some time to bring that under your remit. How many private hospitals have been inspected?
So I might take that question again. So there are 22 private hospitals that are available for us to inspect. We only got the remit to begin to inspect them in September of last year.
So you're beginning that process.
Yeah, we've inspected 11 of them thus far. Yeah, and we will
again, any comment on what issues are arising?
In general, the findings have been quite positive. We're actually at the stage of just being about to publish a number of the early inspection reports. So they should
they'll be the first reports?
Yes, so they will be available. Generally, the findings have been quite positive thus far.
That's good. Just, Mr. Culfer, are you the Chief Inspector now, or a designate? Just clarify your position.
Our Chief Inspector is on leave at the moment for personal reasons, and I've been assigned by the board, designated by the Board of Directors under the Health Act.
So that's
to
the word
designate to fulfil her function.
And then there's a deputy as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so just under the legislation, you have a particular role, haven't you? Under the legislation, your role is set out under legislation. Yeah. And have you all the powers? I think you said something earlier on, and I missed it. I was watching too many things. But just have you? It's to register, to inspect, and also to bring prosecutions if necessary. Yeah. Have you all of those powers? Have they been delegated to you now?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes.
Okay. Were they all delegated at the same time by the board?
Yes.
And that was back in November, was it?
Yeah.
So all of the necessary powers have been delegated?
Yes.
Thanks very much. Then just going back into relation to IT and legal services, and it was mentioned before, the same firms and possible conflict of interest. Yeah. So the same firm advising HIQA or the health executive or the third parties. I wasn't really reassured with the answer that was given there in relation to that. So has it happened that a particular company's solicitors have advised HIQA at the same time as they're advising the nursing home or the health executive?
I think maybe Finbar or Susan, I would be fairly confident that, I would be very confident that when we had Beecham's and when we have these two firms, one of the requirements when they respond to the tender is that they demonstrate that they have a conflict, because it's a small system.
I understand.
So I don't think I am not aware that it has arisen, but I am also aware of where they have declared that conflict and they have stepped back from being involved.
How many times would that have happened?
In my time, it happened in one specific instance in relation to the ICT project. In relation to regulation, I'm not aware that there was ever any conflict in relation to Beecham's, but in relation to the issue that was raised earlier, should Mason Hayes Curran have a relationship with the Mays, we would put the necessary safeguards that would not allow for them to take action. We have the safeguards to allow. You're
satisfied that your safeguards are there for a conflict of interest to prevent that happening.
And even in our first, Mason Hayes are very new with this, we had a meeting with them in relation to the nursing home issue, and the very first thing they need, in relation to a specific question, the very first thing they raised with us, we need to do a conflict check there. So I think the companies are very aware.
I'm just going to stop you on that. I'm taking your reassurance on that for the moment. Just then in relation to the ICT and the project, and you give a specific figure for that. I think it's 8-point-something million.
8.6, yes.
Okay. Does that cover everything?
It does.
Is there a maintenance cost every year in addition to that?
So,
sorry, the 8.6 million is the cost of the installation, the project.
Yeah.
So at the end of the project, when we get to that, then the capital expenditure will finish, and it'll move into then a kind of
What is the
a normal
cost of that?
operating.
What will be the operating cost?
We had put in the business case with about $1 million a year.
Million a year.
Between software licensing, managed service, and hosting. There's 3 different elements.
And I'm running out of time. The last question, just in relation to conflicts of interest here again, in relation to procurement and getting these experts on board, and maybe people that had worked for different entities are now in the companies. How do you deal with that? Have you been reassured in relation to that? Have any conflicts arisen?
No, I mean, I know, for example, during the procurement process, there was a member of staff who stepped down off the procurement panel because they had a relative who was involved with one of the companies who was bidding, so they kind of excluded themselves. So that we have a conflict of interest policy internally, where we'd expect that of people to do that.
So,
Thank you.